Hey, what's going on, everybody? In today's video, I'm going to be giving you guys my Pro Bowl voting for 2023-2024. This is a little improvised because these are really my notes for who I wanted to vote for the Pro Bowl, but I waited a little too long. I waited too much for the sample size. So the Pro Bowl voting on NFL.com did close, but obviously I wanted to wait for the sample size to pretty much close as we are now in the final week of the season. So I guess let's just get right into it. For the quarterbacks, just a little preference for the Pro Bowl voting. A lot of them are 3 per division or 3 per conference. Sometimes 4, sometimes 2, sometimes 1, especially for special teams. But for the AFC, for the quarterback position, I'm gonna have Tua Tagovailoa, Josh Allen, and Lamar Jackson as my Pro Bowl votes. CJ Stroud does have a ton of votes, but I would put him maybe 4 or 5 on my Pro Bowl list for the AFC. And then for the NFC, I have Dak Prescott, Brock Purdy, and then Jalen Hurts. And then for the running back position, I've got Isaiah Pacheco, Raheem Mostert, and James Cook as my guys here. Isaiah Pacheco is a guy that I haven't really seen on a lot of Pro Bowl votes, but he's been performing really well on a sluggish Chiefs offense. And then I think James Cook has been one of the most efficient backs. And then you have Raheem Mostert, who leads all running backs in touchdowns. Breece Hall and Travis Etienne, I would also give a vote to, more or less Breece Hall. He leads, or I think he's like 5th in total all scrimmage yards, but Travis Etienne has double-digit touchdowns as well. And then for the NFC, it gets a lot simpler because you got Christian McCaffrey, Kyren Williams, and DeAndre Swift, all guys with 1,000 yards. Kyren Williams, I think, is 2nd in rushing yards. Christian McCaffrey is 1st in his 2K all scrimmage yards. Fullback, I've got Alec Ingold and Kyle Juszczyk. Both of these guys are pretty much the best fullbacks in the league. These are 1 and 2. Both are extremely impactful in the run game. Both are great in the pass game. I would probably give Kyle Juszczyk my bid for the first team All-Pro, and then Alec Ingold second team. For the wide receivers, I would pick Tyreek Hill as my All-Pro selection for the AFC, and then for the Pro Bowl, Keenan Allen, Jamar Chase, and Amari Cooper. These guys are, I think, the 4 best, easily, hands down, in the AFC. And then you've got CeeDee Lamb, Amon-Ra St. Brown, Puka Nacua, and A.J. Brown. CeeDee Lamb would be my first team All-Pro, as well as Tyreek Hill. And then for the tight end position in the AFC, I've got Travis Kelce, David Njoku, and Evan Ingram, all with above 800 yards. Travis Kelce 2nd in receiving yards, and then in the NFC, you've got George Kittle, who's 1st in receiving yards, T.J. Hockenson, and then Sam Laporta. T.J. Hockenson obviously won't participate in the Pro Bowl due to his ACL and MCL tear, so you would have, I guess, a reserve for Trey McBride. I don't know how the Pro Bowl's, working this year. There are going to be a ton of reserves and a ton of players that just don't even participate. So yeah, Trey McBride would be my hypothetical replacement for T.J. Hockenson due to injury. For offensive tackle, I've got Teron Armstead, Braden Smith, and then Colton Miller as my selections. All 3 of these guys are top 3 in AFC AFC pass blocking efficiency, so that kind of works out. But Teron Armstead injury, I would have Garrett Bowles as my replacement there. And then for the NFC, I've got Penei Sewell, Trent Williams, and Christian Darrisaw. I think Penei Sewell and Trent Williams. Also, Lane Johnson. I forgot. Lane Johnson from the Eagles also would be part of this discussion. But I think he had a bit of an injury stint in the beginning of the year. But he's having a bit of a down year relative to his standards, I guess. And I would put my All-Pro left tackle. My All-Pro left tackle would be Trent Williams. My All-Pro right tackle would probably be Penei Sewell. But speaking about All-Pros, actually, my video for my All-Pro list will come out later, probably when the playoffs are happening, just as a flyer video. And yeah, I'll just basically go over statistics and who I have as my All-Pro for each position. It'll be a bit longer than this, I guess. But for the guard position, I've got Quinn Miners, I've got Robert Hunt, and I got Joe Thuney as my selections. Robert Hunt with injury. Trey Smith will come in as the replacement. And then for the NFC, I've got Chris Lindstrom, Tyler Smith, and Kevin Dotson. Kevin Dotson was not great on the Steelers, but moved to guard for the Rams. and is having a very good season for them. And then for my center picks, I've got Tyler Linderbaum and Creed Humphreys for the AFC, and then for the NFC, I've got Frank Ragnow and Jason Kelsey. For the defense, there is a distinction between defensive end, 4-3 defensive end to 3-4 defensive end, and edge rusher, technically, with outside linebacker or linebacker position. Technically, they're pretty much all the same thing. They're specifically edge rusher positions. The difference is, in football terms, the technique of where you're playing, and I guess the depth chart. But Pro Bowl has a distinction between that, so we're going to adhere to that. For the AFC, we're going to look at Myles Garrett, Max Crosby, and Trey Hendrickson. All these are Garrett and Hendrickson are 4-3 defensive ends. Max Crosby is a 3-4 defensive end. And for the NFC, I've got Nick Bosa, Aiden Hutchinson, and Danielle Hunter. All these guys are 4-3 defensive ends. And then for my outside linebacker pick, I've got in the AFC, TJ Watt, Josh Allen, Khalil Mack. I think all these guys are 4-3, or all these guys are 3-4 outside linebackers, with I think the exception of Josh Allen. I don't know if he's an outside linebacker or a sub linebacker in the depth chart of the Jaguars if they run a 4-3, but he is an outside rusher. And then for the NFC, I've got Hassan Reddick, Micah Parsons, and Rasheed Gary. All these guys are outside linebackers. Makes sense here. And then for my interior defensive lineman, aka defensive tackle, I've got Chris Jones, Justin Matabike, and then Quinnen Williams for my AFC picks. And then Ed Oliver would be my reserve pick. I just wanted to add them because there have been so many good defensive tackles this year. And then in the NFC, I have Aaron Donald, Dexter Lawrence, and Jalen Carter, the rookie. I think one of my only rookie Pro Bowl votes outside of special teams. Yeah. And then, no, I have another one. And then Javon Hargrave would be my alternate for that group. For my inside linebacker, middle linebacker, strong side, weak side guys, for the AFC, I would have Roquan Smith, Quincy Williams, and CJ Mosley as my selections. I can see another couple of other linebackers here. But in the NFC, I have Fred Warner, Demario Davis, and Bobby Okereke. Or Okereke, depending on how you pronounce it. For the cornerback position in the AFC, I've got Sauce Gardner, L'Jarius Sneed, and Marlon Humphrey as my selections. And then for the NFC, I've got Jalen Johnson. Bit of a weird pick here, but it's not really. Advanced Statistics love him. I think he leads the NFL in passer rating allowed at like 30-something, which is insane, or like 40-something, which is very good. Charvarius Ward, definitely deserving. He's probably up for my all-pro list as well. And then I have Deron Bland as my other cornerback. It's not just because of the interceptions. It's not just because of the pick sixes either. But he has also had great passer rating allowed, not a ton of yards, some bad games here or there. But Deron Bland, I think, is perfectly worthy of a Pro Bowl selection here. And then because the all-pro list does this, but not Pro Bowl list, I'm pretty sure, but I had an optional slot cornerback role, which is a nickel cornerback. It's the third cornerback. There are two boundaries, and then you got a guy in the middle sometimes. But it's a specified position for some people. So I had in the AFC Michael Carter II, a primary slot cornerback. I think he's the lowest passer rating allowed, lowest receptions per target, or lowest receptions per snap for all slot cornerbacks. And if there were, the AP, Associated Press, is adding a slot all-pro distinction this year, and if that were the case, I would give Michael Carter II my vote. And then Devin Witherspoon is my slot AFC, or my slot NFC vote. He's having a phenomenal year as a rookie, 5th overall pick, obviously, but Devon Witherspoon, he kind of plays both. He plays boundary sometimes, but he has more snaps and is a qualified. He has more snaps in the slot and is a qualified slot cornerback. And then for safety, I think the Pro Bowl does make a distinction between free and strong safety, but they kind of play both at certain times. So I kind of just bunch safety into one. I've got Geno Stone, Minkah Fitzpatrick, and then Kyle Hamilton as my Pro Bowl votes. I think Javon Holland, who is not mentioned here, is also within the conversation. And then for the NFC, I've got Jesse Bates, Antoine Winfield, and then Kirby Joseph. Antoine Winfield and Jesse Bates are probably up for, or Kyle Hamilton, Jesse Bates, and Antoine Winfield are probably up for my all-pro voting, but I'll have to see which one I get, or which two I get, because there are two all-pro votes for safeties. And for my kicker position, I've got Harrison Butker for the Chiefs. I think this could go in the AFC a ton of different ways. Greg Zuerlein is up there, and a few other guys as well. But for the NFC, it's between two guys, Younghoe Koo, and I gave it to Brandon Aubrey. He has not missed a field goal. He's perfect 9 for 9 on 50-plus yard field goals. And then for the punter position, I've got Thomas Morstead, leads the NFL in net punt yards, and he's tied for first in punts inside of the 20. And then for the NFC, I've got Brandon Pinion. He's the highest graded PFF punter. And then for the kick returner, this could kind of go in a few ways for the AFC. I don't think there were any great punt returners in the AFC this year. I'll kind of go based on the most efficient, which is, I think, Jamal Agnew. I think he was the highest graded punt returner for the AFC as well. And then for the NFC, I would give it to Kiesan Nixon. He was the Pro Bowl kick returner last year as well. And then for punt returners, I'm going to go with Darius Davis. I think he led the AFC net punt return yards, and he had 16 yards per return. And then for the NFC, I'm going to go with Britton Covey. He also led the NFC. He leads the league in net punt return yards. But if I would give an alternate there, I would give it to Rashid Shaheed. So that's going to be my Pro Bowl list. Pretty quick video there. Let me know if you guys want the first team all-pro list. And make sure you guys like, comment, subscribe. Let me know your Pro Bowlers, and I'll see you guys in the next video.